There's a book from the Sikh community, and it's by a guy named Guru Singh, and he wrote a book called Buried Treasures. And Hilda, he went to a Native American community that he ended up getting to for some bizarre reasons. I mean, it was so weird. He was a musician. He was even playing with Janis Joplin. It was back in those days, and suddenly he got like intertwined with these Native Americans who happened to be in the city, and they brought him out to their community, and they, like you just said, 100% were all communicating without words. They were just using telepathy. It's real. And something that they did that I think we also have lost in society, because I think we had a lot of these things, and I think we continue to lose them as these powerful people in the game that we currently are playing in society are perpetuating and pushing on us. Because as we continue to play this game, which I can go into my whole thoughts about banks and how they're controlling everything and all that shit. Uh, they get more powerful in this game we're allowing ourselves to play in. So they are continually pushing this stuff on us because they're getting more powerful in this game. But before they were this powerful, we did have a lot more connection to these things. And one of those things was what they did in this Native American tribe that Guru Singh went to, which is called a rite of passage. And so we still have echoes of what a rite of passage are in our current society, and we call them a quinceañera, or we call them a bar mitzvah or a bat mitzvah. And those are like echoes of what they were. But the true thing of what those things were this idea of like you're moving from this youthful, playful joy into trying to understand what it means to enter into adulthood, where you have real trials and real tribulations. And how do you depend on your inner knowingness and your inner wisdom and your deep guidance, your intuition? How do you depend on that to calmly navigate these rough seas and these storms that will inevitably hit you? And the elders, Hilda Elder, they knew this stuff. They knew this stuff, and they tried to pass on this wisdom. And so today we're just filled with like knowledge. We're not filled with wisdom, right? We just have tons of knowledge. Like I can find out, how much it rains in wherever in Guatemala, like, like cool. Okay. But that's not wisdom. Like the wisdom that you get from these rites of passages are so, so important, but we've lost them. So Guru Singh, if you go pick up that book, he goes through a million of them. And there's two that really stick out in my mind, but I'll just mention one. One, which was like the final trial, was they would have him go through this dark cave where he couldn't see anything. You could barely hear anything. So none of your senses work, and he would go practice the path with light. And then the final trial is go through the passage all without light. So depend on your practice and your stillness and your abilities to go from one end of the cave to the other without depending on the fire for light and all that stuff. And his descriptions of going through that cave, it even gives me chills thinking about it, is so deep because it's really part of the human experience, like that dark cave idea, going into the dark forest. Because even though he had practiced it, it still brought up so many things. Like time, suddenly he couldn't keep track of. Suddenly he'd have hallucinations that he really felt were real. All of his deepest fears were manifesting because when you're in pure blackness, you start to see things. And so he describes it really well and how terrifying it was.